All right, number 3. This one's all about angles, so we don't even have to worry about side lengths, which is good because they don't give us any side lengths, right? So we need to figure out our angles. If this angle is 27, alternate interior means this one's 27, right? And if it equals 90, all of them equal 90, then we do 90 minus 27, and that will give us 63. So that means this piece is 63, which means this piece is 63. Let's see if that's enough information. Angle of MJK. MJK. So it wants the total, which we know is 90. All four corners are 90. MJL. MJL, which means it just wants this piece, which is 63 degrees. JLK. JLK, just this piece, which is 63 degrees. And we knew that because of alternate interior angles. They're on opposite sides of the line. KML. KML. So they want to know this one. How can we figure that out? What do we know about these triangles? They're isosceles triangles. Isosceles. Alright, and the thing we know about isosceles triangles is that this and this are the same. This and this are the same. So if this one's 27, this one has to be 27. If this one's 63, this one has to be 63. Isosceles triangles. You need to remember the rule, right? So the rule is the two base angles are congruent. I know, we're going back in time here to remember some of our stuff about triangles. Right, so we can say KML is 27. We know that now. And MNL. MNL. Well, what do we know about triangles in general? We know all triangles have to equal 180. Right? So we have 27 and 27, which is 54, and it has to equal 180. So 180 minus 54 is 26. 126? 126. That means this is 126. And that's what we needed, MNL, 126. Right? We're having to use all of our knowledge about shapes, rectangles, triangles, isosceles, all the things. We need to know all the things. Alright? Watch it as many times as you need to, and then come and do number 4. I'm putting it up here because if you're in class and I'm teaching it, then I'll have a handout for you. If you're watching this as makeup, then you don't get the handout, you just have to write it down. Use a ruler. Once you have your smiley, continue or move to the next video, whichever it may be. I'm trying to keep the videos under 10 minutes. That means there might be multiple videos. Alright. 5 says, given dB equals 42, dB, this total line is 42, and AD equals 26, and the measure of angle DAE, so we're doing angles, is 52 degrees. Right? We're searching for a lot of stuff. Some of it is distance, some of it is angles. Alright, so let's just figure out what we know and what we don't know. Let's start with the outside. Let's start with the distance. We know A is 26. We don't know B. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And C is 42. Let's see if we can use that to figure out what this distance is, because that would be helpful, right? So A squared, 26 squared, plus B squared equals 42 squared. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. All right, let's get our calculator. 26 squared, 26 times 26, 676, plus B squared equals 42 times 42, or 42 squared, 1764. All right, this is a positive 676, so we're going to subtract 676. So B squared is equal to 1764 minus 676, which is 1088. And then remember, to find the square root, to get rid of that square, we need to find the square root of both, right? Because that cancels the square. So the square root of 1088 is 32.984845, round to the nearest tenth, so one number after the decimal. And that rounds the 9, right? Because the answer is B is equal to 32.984845. But we're going to round. This moves that to a 10, which moves that to a 3. So B equals 33. So 33. So if this is 26, this is 26. If this is 33, this is 33. If this is 42, then half would be 21, 21, 21, right? Because the rule says that they are congruent. Those are all 21. Now let's see if we can answer our distance questions. A to C. A to C. This diagonal is congruent to this diagonal. So if this diagonal is 42, then this diagonal is 42. 21 plus 21, right? 42. All right, so 42. E to B. E to B. So half, 21. And then B to C. B to C is our 26. A to B. A to B is our 33. Alright? So just based on what we knew, following the rules, and using A squared plus B squared equals C squared, we were able to find all of the lengths, the side lengths, the distances. Alright? Now we're moving on to angles. Alright, so what I'm going to do is erase all the side lengths. Because now we're moving on to angles. Oop, I should have left that. I don't want it to be cluttered. Okay. What was that? 52? 52. Alright, now we can see what we can figure out based on that. We need to figure out all of the other angles. We know that this has to total 90. So 90 minus 52 is 38. So that means this piece is 38. If this piece is 52, this piece is 52. We're still dealing with isosceles triangles. So if this piece is 52, this piece is 52. If this piece is 52, this piece is 52. If this piece is 38, this piece is 38. Alternate interior. If this piece is 38, this piece is 38. This piece is 38. Is that all the angles? Except for the ones in the middle. Hopefully they won't ask us about any of those. We can figure it out if they ask. ADC. So A to D to C. They want the total thing for this angle, and it's a 90-degree angle. So it's 90. 90 degrees. Because it's degrees, we put the degree symbol. Because it's an angle, we put the degree symbol. The next one is ABD. ABD. They only want this piece, 38 degrees. PCA. BCA. They only want this piece. Remember, the vertex is the letter in the center, 52 degrees. And then lastly, DEC. Oh, they're going to ask. Okay, DEC. That means they want this one. What do we know about triangles? They have to total 180. 38 and 38 is 76. We know it has to total 180, so 180 minus 76 is 104. So this is 104. There. All right, watch it as many times as you need to. Make sure you're listening to me. If you're actually listening to me, you'll know that the key word for number 5 is pickle rodeo. You either need to say it to me very quietly when you come back to get your smiley, or you need to write it somewhere in your notes so that I can see it and you can show me. Pickle rodeo.